I'm Chip Templeton here at the Mitchell Memorial Library on the campus of Mississippi State University. Welcome to our weekend. We're giving you a little snippet of our weekend here at the 16th Annual Charles Templeton Ragtime and Jazz Festival. Our Charles Templeton Music Museum is located on the 4th floor here in the library, and it's open to the public throughout the week if you're ever on campus and want to tour it. So I want to introduce you to a new friend of mine here. This is Mr. Donald Ryan from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He is a performer of various genres, and we're going to discuss some of that. And we welcome you, Donald, to Starkville and to Mississippi State University and to our festival.
Thank you. It is a delight to be here.
One part of our festival that we do here, we do things throughout the community, maybe go to different schools or different outreach sections. And I know yesterday you arrived a day early for the festival, and you played at a couple of things. Could you tell us a little synopsis about what you did? Don't worry about the name of the school or whatever you can't remember. Just kind of experience what you did that really helped educate some folks about what our music is about.
Okay, well, I did two things yesterday. One was here on campus for theater students, and played and spoke about ragtime and then answered questions. And I guess that touched me, well, certainly as much as talking to this public school students in the afternoon, but some kids were there who loved piano, loved music, but they were, because of their academic pursuits, were being pulled in other directions and wanted to know how do they integrate that. Or some would have liked to begin music studies, maybe not formally, but at least learning to play an instrument, the piano, for instance, and asked about that. Is it a hopeless case to start?
Right. How long does it take and all that kind of thing?
So then in the afternoon, I played at the a partnership school.
Right, it's a new school here in Starkville.
6th and 7th graders, and I was delighted. They didn't get restless and noisy.
They were very interested in what you had to say and do.
A lot of students were there, and I couldn't say that I held them with rapt attention every second, but they were as attentive at the end as they were at the beginning. Okay. Which I was very pleased.
Well, that's great, and I know you did a great job at that. I know as a kid, and of course with my gray hair, it's been a long time since I was a kid, but I remember so many of those type programs that came to my school and elementary school and so forth.
So do I.
That go with me. Things remind me of that. So just think of what you've done for all those college students and 6th and 7th graders.
I mentioned that to the 6th and 7th graders. I said, I remember being in VIA, sitting and looking at somebody like me and thinking, is that a world that I could ever inhabit?
Yeah. So as a professional musician such as you are, you have more responsibilities than just the music. You have those relationships and things that you leave with them, a memory of happiness or whatever the mood of the music. So changing the topic just a little bit, give us a little background as to how you got, where you're from and how you got to Tulsa, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about your music career if that is part of that introduction.
Okay, I'll give you the short story. I am originally from Trinidad and Tobago in the West Indies. Two islands, one nation. I'm from the larger island, Trinidad. I played there. I'm a preacher's kid, and started playing in and around church and took to it like a duck to water. Was heard when I was about 15 by somebody from the US who asked me, he was there again when I was 16, he asked if I had any plans for my music, because he was fairly impressed with what I was doing.
You could be a professional musician.
I wasn't, I don't know that I had thought about that, but if there was an opportunity to do music some more, I certainly, yes, I was all for it. I didn't have a plan, so to speak. I was just doing the next best thing.
Right.
And so I said, certainly. He asked if he could try to interest a college or a university here in the U.S. to admit me. I said, sure. I had nothing better to do. So next thing I heard was he said, okay, how about ORU? That's Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. So I said, fine. So I came, ORU offered me a scholarship, and which is fascinating. Scholarship, music scholarship, and some academic, some work, and a bunch of stuff so I could afford to get here. And nobody at ORU had ever heard me play. I mean, no cassette.
They took a chance on you.
No
You
cassette
took a chance on them.
tapes, no reel-to-reel tapes. Nobody listening on the telephone to me play. They just took a chance, and so I came and thank God I did well enough that the next year the scholarship was full.
That's great.
So that is how I got to the U.S. To study music. I did my bachelor's there, finished in '72. I guess tell everybody my age.
Right. I'm right there with you. So piano is your instrument?
Piano is my instrument,
Okay.
yes.
So tell us a little bit about, I know this is a ragtime and jazz festival, and any genre goes or whatever, but tell us a little bit about Donald's music. What is it that you do that our audience needs to know about ragtime or jazz or whatever you would like us to know about Donald's music?
Oh, wow. Now you're opening things up. My purpose, I guess, in everything I play is to leave the listener, to leave you feeling better about the world, better about yourself than when you came in. I want to be I want to have that kind of effect. Whether I'm playing classical music, which I've done my master's in piano performance, and I've done international piano competitions and such. So I'm well steeped in it. Classical music, whether I'm improvising in popular music, I guess popular music from the 70s, 80s back, not popular music of
Gotcha.
2022.
It's an ever-changing process.
Whether I'm improvising that or improvising jazz or playing ragtime or doing my own arrangements of hymns and gospel songs.
Okay.
People ask, what do I like best? And that's difficult to say, in that I find it all so gratifying.
Well, all of the above, is a good answer.
Yes.
That's good that you like all of it. So, this weekend here at our festival, I know you're probably going to have that down to a certain type of music. I mean, certainly if you want to play classical, that would be fine, but I suspect ragtime
It'll be
or jazz.
ragtime and jazz.
And
yes.
so for our audience, just like rock and roll has been going on 50 or 60 years, and there's different types. So if we talk about ragtime, and then you could say jazz if you want to as well, but ragtime, what would you say are the ragtime, your mentors, or the type music that you might share that our audience might maybe understand what that might be about?
All right. Well, I gravitate more so towards the classic ragtime writers, the big three: Scott Joplin.
Okay, make sure our audience knows this, because they may not know anything about these people you're going to
Scott Joplin, who I think was he was one of those, but certainly he was trying to get ragtime beyond the dance hall and to the concert hall. And so he had his approach For me, it was a more serious approach just to the toss it off rags that some of the lesser writers adopted.
He's known as the king of ragtime, actually.
Yes,
so
king of
we
ragtime.
want to give him the crown for
yes.
that.
And starting off with something like the Maple Leaf Rag, as he did.
Right,
these were
1899,
1899. He published one set of rags before that in 1899, but that Maple Leaf Rag is still one of the best ever. I would love to write something like that in 120, 30 years from now, people will still be saying it's terrific. So Scott Joplin, James Scott, who was more scintillating at the piano.
He's one of my favorites.
For a player, you just love throwing your hands around and hearing those notes come out that Scott put on paper. And the other one is Joseph Lamb, who was from New Jersey. The other two were from the Midwest. Lamb was from New Jersey and put another color, so to speak, into ragtime. And for me, he was more expansive and more lyrical.
Right.
That was a strength of his in comparison to the other two. Just a different facet.
Right. Let me expand on that just a little bit. For our audience, the Charles Templeton Music Museum, the collection there is called The Business of Music. So if we take that and we bridge it to what you've got, it's more about. It is about music, but also can be about the opportunities of publishing. You name it, there's an industry that's come up from that.
Yes.
So it also provided socially opportunities for African Americans, females to get involved in the business or do publications that would not have happened had it not been for the music business. So music brings everybody together.
Yes,
it does matter what color or
yes, it does.
or status or anything. It's all one big experience. Yes. And the three that you mentioned, Scott Joplin, African American from a small town in Missouri. James Scott, I believe, was from Carthage, Missouri, small town. And I don't remember in New Jersey if it's small town or he was part of New York City, but he was the Caucasian of the three,
he was.
Joseph Lamb.
Yes, he was. I think Joplin. He was born in Texarkana, in that area.
Right. I remember that.
But he certainly, plied his trade up and down the Mississippi and settled in Sedalia, Missouri, because there was a college there.
That's right.
That would admit blacks.
Right.
At that time, in some places, you could be put in jail for educating.
That's right. And I believe his dad was a former slave, if I remember correctly. So the wonderful thing, again, about music and the music business and everything is just, as you study the business of music collection, you can see it socially. You can see it from any of the business aspects of it. So anyway, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. And if you say I don't know anything about it, that's perfectly fine. But I'm just going to ask you, did you know anything about the Charles Templeton Music Museum before you were invited to come here, or had you used any of the online archives or anything? I'm just curious.
I did. I came across the website about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I started delving into it, and then got distracted, and
never got back to it.
Did not get back to it.
Okay.
But it was on one of my to-do lists. Look up more about the Templeton Museum and the festival.
Well, we're just curious. Again, I wasn't putting you on the spot. I just wanted to know if you had used it, what sort of examples you've used it, because it means a lot to our audience if they hear an example. But with all the sheets and sheet music that's out there that could be found. But anyway, just wanted to have my curiosity scratched on that. So I believe we're going to wrap up our segment here now. Again, we're so happy to have you here in Starkville at Mississippi State here at the Mitchell Memorial Library for our festival. And we look forward to a great weekend of not only your music, but all the other musicians and
you
our
have
fans
a
that are
great
here.
lineup here. Adam Swanson, of course, they know Jeff and Ann.
TJ.
TJ and Josh I had not encountered before, but I know I know Jeff. I know he's got terrific taste, even if he asked me here.
Well, musicians have a certain chemistry.
Uh-huh.
And that's also a secret degree of performing. You just know each other, even though you may not really know each other. But when you come musically together,
You know
it just
the
sort of
quality.
happens. Right, it sort of
what's
happens.
being right.
But anyway, thank you, Donald, for being
You're
here.
welcome.
And
Most welcome.
thank you, our audience, for watching this segment. And we welcome you to come anytime to the Mitchell Memorial Library here at Mississippi State and visit the Charles Templeton Music Museum, which is open for the public throughout the weekdays. Thank you.